1.6, the second part. We have like this type of equations. It's called equations with rational exponents. In fact, there is more than one way to solve it. Before I start solving this one, I'm going to give you an easy rule to work on it. Remember what I told you? If you have x m over n is the same thing. It's the radical x. Here is the exponent, and here is the root. I gave you this rule.
I can't remember.
Or in another class, I don't remember too. So anyway, that means when you have rational exponent, you can bring it back as a radical. How are we gonna bring it back as a radical? You see, n is the exponent of the x. N is the root. Okay, this way it's work with this example. So first of all, I'm gonna solve it. Try using this rule, and then I'm gonna show you what I use. So if we try to use this rule, this side, because we need to find the value of x, this side is going to be what? And this number is going to be what? Here is the root. This is the x. 2 is going to be here or here?
On the inside.
Here, and here is 3. It will what? 4. So I'm just using the rule. Okay. Now tell me how I'm going to solve this problem. It's back to the radical problems. Remember when we have radicals, isolate the radical by itself. It's the radical by itself, right? And next step, we're going to raise both sides to the power of the radical. How much the power of the radical? 3. So we're going to raise both sides to 3. Yes or no? Cancel this one with this one. What's the left from here? X squared equal 4 cubed. How much 4 cubed? 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. 64. Now, what's the next step? What's the next step?
Square root.
Square root both sides. X equal what?
8.
8. Every time when you're taking the square root, what are you gonna do?
Plus minus this right?
That's really important. You solve everything here and you forget the plus or minus. How many solutions do you have? Which is x equal 8. X equal. Is that okay so far? This is using this rule. Now, the other rule, when I'm doing, you have to be careful. Check the other way to solve it. Remember, there is another rule with exponent. The rule says if you have one of the exponents rule, if you have x to the power n, let's say m, and everything raised to the power n, okay? You have a variable with exponent n, and the whole thing is raised to the exponent n. You can say x m times n. Okay? This is a rule. This is the exponent rule. We're just trying to refresh our memory, okay? Is that cool? So now, if you have x to the power 3 over 5 raised to the power 5, how much going to be? X is look like you're doing 3 over 5 times 5. Cancel these. So how much going to be? It's a cube. Is that okay so far? Now, what about if I have x 2/3 raised to the 3/2? How much is going to be? Going to be 1. Why? Because here is the x. 2/3 times the 3/2. Cancel both. It's going to be what? Just x to the power 1. Is that cool? Let's go back to our problem. Our problem says x 2/3 equal 4. I'm telling you, if you solve it this way, it's going to be right. Okay? If you solve it using this rule, also is going to be right, but you have to be careful. Now, can I raise both sides? Raise both sides to the reciprocal of this number? Yes or no? It's fine. You can raise both sides like you have number, have x squared equal 4. If you raise both sides to the same number, cubed, it's going to be fine. It's still equal. Because everything you're doing here, you're doing to the other side. Okay? So if I raise both sides to the reciprocal of the rational exponents, what's going to happen? Check here. I'm going to say x 2/3 raised to the power 3/2 equal the other side 4 raised to the power 3/2. Is that okay? Here's the thing. Now tell me, 2/3 times 3/2. That's what we did. It's going to be what? Just x. So here is the x. Equal 4 3/2. What was going to be? Go ahead and plug it in the calculator. 4 to the power 3/2. Because I know you're going to use the calculator. No. Go ahead and plug in again. I'm going to show you in details, but I need to tell you how much it's going to be. Because I know you're going to use the calculator. 4 to the power 3/2. It's going to be 8. The same thing here. But what's the difference? What's the difference? I'm going to write down x here equal 8. How many solutions do we have here? We have to get 2 solutions. So that's mean this way is wrong. No, it's still right. It says with this rule, every time when you raise both sides to an even denominator here. An even denominator here, okay? What I'm gonna put here, plus or minus. Get the idea? So every time x is going to be plus or minus 6. So every time I raised both sides to a fraction with the even denominator, I have to put a plus or minus for the result. Is that okay? And the result is going to be plus or minus 8. Is that the same thing over there? If you don't want to use the calculator, like it's fine. You can jump from this step to this step. I'm not going to say it's wrong. Because I'm telling you the rule. Every time when you raise both sides to the even denominator here, x, the other side is going to be plus or minus the result. Is that okay?
No.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
What you say no. So now, 4. 3/2. Let's go back here. When you bring back from rational to radical, how is it going to be? Here's the square root, right? The 3 here or here?
Inside.
3 inside, 2 outside.
Okay, 3 inside, 2 outside with the square root. Now x equal 3 cubed, which is 64. So 3 times 3, 4 times 4 times 4, so it's going to be square root of 64. What's the square root of 64? That's the minus 8.
Okay.
You get the idea? You made connection? You don't have to do these 2 steps. Like if you plug it in the calculator, it's going to be fine. But if you want to learn how to do it, because the same rule I'm using, I didn't do anything. It's just different way to solve the problem. You got it? Is that cool? Kind of? It's okay. There's no other problem. Any way you're gonna use is fine, unless if they ask you to use this way. Okay? So now, can I use the same method here on this one? So now, how are we gonna solve it? Raise both sides to the reciprocal of the rational exponent. What's the reciprocal of 1/5? 5/1. So I'm going to raise both sides. Say x plus 1 to 1/5. I'm gonna raise it to what? 5/1. And the other side is -3 to 5/1. Is that okay? What's the left?
X plus 1,
X plus 1. -3 to the power 5.
40.
-2. -2. 43.
Yes.
Is that okay? Now check. When we raised both sides to the reciprocal, the denominator is odd number. Is that okay? So when it's even, I have to put a plus or minus. When it's odd, you don't have to worry about the sign. It's going to be only one solution. You got negative, you got positive, keep it. Is that fine? So now, what's the next step? Because we need to find the solution, which is the value of x. That's it. Just say -1 from both sides. X is going to be equal -2, 4, 4. That's it. This is the system. Is that okay? Is that okay so far? So that's the rule. Odd, you're gonna raise both sides to an odd denominator here. With the rational, you're gonna get only one solution. If you raise both sides to an even number, you're gonna get how many? Two solutions. Now I'm gonna ask you, is there another way to solve it? Perfect. This is using the rational. Can I use this rule? Try to solve it? Let's try. So it's x plus 1 to the power 1/5 equal what? -3. Now I'm gonna change this one to a radical. It's going to be what? 5 here, right? And here you don't have to put parentheses. X plus 1, because it's 1, right? You don't know. Equal what? -3. Now how are we gonna solve the radical? We have the steps. First of all, we have to isolate the radical by itself. The radical already by itself. Next step, we're gonna raise both sides to the power of radical. To the 5, the 5, cancel here. So x plus 1 equal what? -2, 4, 3. Is that the same steps here? This one exactly the same thing here. So you're gonna say -1 from both sides. That means x is going to be equal -2, 4. So it's up to you, both way, it's right. Unless they're gonna ask you to use this way, the radical. Use the radical to solve the problem. And they give you the problem like this. Use the rational exponents to solve this problem. Go ahead, use this method. On Alex, don't worry about that. The main thing, you have to find the solution. That's it. That's the only thing they're gonna ask you. Okay? Okay. How are we gonna solve it? Try to solve this problem. How? Like the first thing, everything in one side. It's written in a general quadratic form, which is what the general. It's ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This is the general form. So I have to make sure squared 1 is the number. Now, next step,
0.
it's equals 0. That's right. Next step, we have to factor. Do you have GCF? No. Then I'm gonna go to the next step. 3 terms. I'm going to open 2 parentheses. Yes or no?
Yes.
Equals 0. X squared, 1x, 1x. Or I have 2 options. I have 1 4 and I have 2 times 2. I'm gonna start with first option. Let's put the 1 here and the 4 here. Our goal is to get what? -3. So I'm gonna put minus here and a plus here. How are you gonna check? We need to check this is the right. Yes. I thought you said plug in. So 1 times x, 1x. -4 times x, -4x. Combine these together, -3x, which is the middle term. So this is the right option. Okay. Now we're gonna solve it using 0 factor, a property, which is the first parentheses equals 0. So x plus 1 equals 0. Or x minus 4 equals 0. Solve this one. X equals -1. Solve this one. So x is going to be equal. Is that okay? Next step, yes. You have to check both these solutions by plugging in the original. You have to get the other side. So this is to solve just the quadratic equations. Let's go to the next step. It's the same problem here, the same numbers. 3, 4, 1 here. What's the difference between this problem and the new one? The exponents. So how many, the maximum number of solutions? That's the difference. Here we got 2. On the new one, the maximum number of solutions could be 4. So 4, 3, 2, 1, none. Okay? Can you factor it? Because there is 2 ways to solve this one. Which way you want to? The long way or the?
The long way.
We're gonna start with the long one.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna start with the long way, and then I'm gonna show you the short one. Which one I prefer is fine. I used to be before doing this. Believe me, I'm never doing the short way. I said, oh, that's stupid. I'm gonna do the short way. Okay? The long way, we're going to assume that let u equal x squared. Okay? I'm gonna assume every time when I see x squared, I'm gonna take the x squared and put u. Okay? That's mean u squared is going to be x to the power 4.
Yes.
Right? This makes sense. If I assume that u x squared, so u squared is going to be x to the power 4. I'm gonna go back, plug in everything here. So the new equations is going to be x to the power 4, which is
Square.
minus 3x squared, which is minus 4. I write down 4, so look like 4, not 3. Is that okay? Now, I'm not gonna look to the back. I'm gonna try to factor this one. We factor it. Same thing what we did over there. But instead of the x, it's going to be what? It's going to be u. That's the only difference. So you're gonna open 2 parentheses, equals 0. We say we're gonna use 4, 1, 4, 2, 2. The first option is gonna work. Put u plus 1, u minus 4. Keep going. I'm gonna keep solving it. U plus 1 equals 0. Or u minus 4 equal what? 0. Solve this one. U is going to be equal -1. Is that fine? Solve this one. So u is going to be equal 4. Is that the solution? No, because we have to the power 4. So we have to get 4 solutions. We assumed u equal x squared. So we have to bring it back. The value of u equal what? X squared. So I'm gonna bring it back because my solution should be with x. So u, it's x squared equal -1. Now I have to go back and solve it again. How are we gonna solve this one? Square root both sides. So square root of x squared equals square root of -1. Is that okay? Yes or no? Now, what's the square root of x squared? X. X equal. Don't forget when you're taking square root for any number, you're gonna put a plus or minus. What's the square root of -1? Perfect. Always even root with negative number is going to be changed the negative to I. So how many solutions from this side? 2 solutions. Can we do the same thing with the other side? Bring back x squared equal 4. Square root both sides. So x is going to be equal.
Plus or minus 2.
Okay, so far? How many solutions do you have? Shortcut is just like, okay, you see, it's a 3 terms. The only way I'm going to solve it without reducing the power, I'm going to factor. So I'm going to open 2 parentheses. And that's the difference. 0, x to the power 4. That's mean what? X squared. Factor the 4, the same thing. 1 and 4. Check the sign, plus and minus. This is the shortcut. Just factor it right away. Yes, I'm telling you, I used to be doing this method for a reason. I'm going to tell you why. And factor this one, check the sign. This one is going to be 1x squared. This one is going to be -4x squared. So -3x squared, so, which is the middle term. Let me I choose the right numbers here. Now solve each one. X squared plus 1 equals 0. Move the 1 to the other side. So x squared equal -1. Take the square root for both sides. X is going to be plus or minus. From this step to the end, is that the same thing we will do here? Exactly the same thing. So that's only the difference. On the other side, you're going to say x squared minus 4 equals 0. Move the 4. So x squared equal 4. Take the square root for both sides. X is going to be plus or minus. Is that fine so far? Which one you prefer? It's up to you. Both is going to be. See, we're trying to make connection. Before what we did, I want to say your example. Now I'm going to ask you, this is a 3 terms. Can you factor it? I'm always giving you the keys. Now you have 4 or 5 keys. You have to, okay, which key I'm going to use? So now, believe me, you have all the keys. Now, can you factor it away? So think about that. What can I do to make it easier for me to solve? First of all, I'm gonna simplify it, okay? Like in a way, write it down in a way so you can understand what I'm doing. First of all, this one, the first term, can I write it down as an x 1/3 squared? Yes or no? Because when you multiply 1/3 times 2, it's going to be 2/3, right? We're just using the same rule. Remember the rule I told you? When you have two exponents, just multiply. Now I bring it back. So this is fine, right? Let's write down the next term. Minus 3x to the 1/3 minus 4 equals 0. What's the next step? Think a little bit, I make it easier for you. A little bit. What are you gonna do to make it easier to factor? Try to use the same thing what I did here.
We change it to u.
Which one I'm gonna change to you?
X cubed or 1 over
The x to the power what?
3.
1/3. You see, x 1/3 here, x 1/3 here. Can I change it to? I'm gonna assume that u equal what? X to the 1/3, right? You see, you start making connection with this, the first method. That's why I said, okay. She said cover the long way, so it's not my fault. So I'm gonna put u here and u here. So if I put u here, it's going to be u
squared.
squared. You get the idea? So it's going to be u squared minus 3 minus what? Equals 0. Now is that piece of cake? Can we factor it?
Yes.
We already did this one. This is the 4th time, I think. So u minus plus 1, u minus 3 equals 0. Yes or no? Oh, sorry. So it'll be u plus 1 equals 0, or u minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so far? Let's solve the first one. So minus 1, let's solve it here. Minus 1 from both sides. That's mean u equal -1. And here we're gonna add 4. So here, so u equal 4. Did we finish? I have to bring back because our solution should be with what?
X.
X. So I'm gonna bring back the first one. I have u equal -1, and here I have what? U equal 4. How much the value of u? X to the power equal 1. Here, x to the power equal 4. Now how I'm gonna solve it? Check it's easier now. Instead of solving like this, I just need to solve this and this. I'm gonna solve this one. Just look at the first question. We're gonna raise both sides to the what? To the reciprocal of 1/3. So I'm gonna say x 1/3. I'm gonna raise it to the 3 over 1. And here it's going to be 1 raised 3 over 1. This is cancelled. The left is x equal what? And I told you when you raise the exponents, the denominator here odd, how many solutions? When it's odd here, how many solutions? We got 1 solution. Can I do the same thing with the other side?
Yes.
So I'm gonna say x 1/3 raised to the 31 equal 4. That means x equal what?
64.
That's it. Also odd, so we're gonna only 1 solution. Is that okay? How are we gonna check these are solutions? Let's check the 64. If we plug in 64 here, 64 cubed is 4, squared 16. 64 cubed from here is going to be 4. Now 16 minus 12. Minus 12 minus 16 minus 12 is 4. 4 minus 4 is going to be 0. You got it? So this one is a solution. Plug in the 1 squared is 1. Cubic root of 1 is going to be 1. So from this side 1. Cubic root of 1, 1. So 1 minus 3, because there's a 3 here, 3 times 1. 1 minus 3, 1 minus 3,
-2.
-2. Minus 4
-6.
equals 0. So what's that mean?
Um,
That means this is not a solution. Let's check it again. Cubic root of 1 is 1. -3 times 1 is -3. Yeah, that's right. This one is 1. So this one is not a solution. So you have to check. But there's something wrong. Oh, yeah, there is something wrong.
You get the 1,
The sign of the one.
be a negative.
I was wondering.
As a 1, it's not gonna work. It's -1. -1, -1. Doesn't make more sense. So this one is x equal -1. Now -1 is gonna work. Because -1 squared is going to be 1, cubic is going to be 1. From this side is going to be -1. Now 1, -3 times -1 is going to be 4. -3, 1 plus 3, 4. 4 minus 4 is going to be 0. So this one is the solution. Okay? I have to plug in. What do you think? How are we gonna solve this one? Same way? Can we do that?
You equals
So you're gonna let u equal what?
x -1.
Perfect. X -1. Always look to the middle term here. That's where you're gonna assume the u.
Negative out in the middle.
So that means u squared is going to be x -1 squared, right? Which is the same thing, x to the -2. That means u squared, which is this one, and this one is going to be u. So this equation is going to be 2 u squared minus 7 plus 6 equal. Next step, I'm just gonna look here trying to factor this one. What do you think? Can you factor it? You open 2 parentheses equals 0. Now, don't forget you have a number here. And you have a number here. So we have 2 options. 6, 2. 2, only one option, 2 times 1. 6, 1, 6, 2, 3. Okay? So I'm going to write down here 2u, and here is u. Which option do you think I can use? 1, 6 or 2, 3? You want to start with 1, 6? Okay. What I'm gonna put here?
1.
Here. Let's try. Do you think it's gonna work? I feel it's not gonna work.
This would be 32.
Put plus here 1 could be work here. If you put here what? Positive. Put negative here. When you check it, positive 1u. Here is going to be what? 12 here. Gonna work?
Oh.
You flip it, let's put the 6 here. Also doesn't work because it's gonna be 6 and 4 and 2. So we have to jump to the which next option. I'm telling you, I don't know. I have to try it too. But for me, I'm not gonna start from 1, 6. Well, it's fine. I'm gonna try 1, 6. Let's do what? 2, 3. What I'm gonna put here?
-3.
We said minus a 3 and here
Minus
minus 2. Will work?
yes.
Was -3u, -4u, -6u. Sorry, -7u. Okay,
Yes.
so now 2u minus 3 equals 0, or u minus 2 equals 0. Can I add 3? 2u equals 3. 5 by 2, u equal 3 over 2. Yes or no? On the other side, you're gonna add 2. U is going to be equal to 2. Dash. No. Now we have u equal 3 over 2. What's the value of u? X negative 1. X negative 1 equal 3 over 2. On the other side here, u equal 2, so x negative 1 equal 2. So how are we going to solve this one?
Get the root. You gotta use what you call it, the square root.
No, because it's negative. Square root is not going to help.
You what you call it.
Can you just raise both sides to negative 1? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's another rule. When you have negative sign, let's write it down here. It's an important rule. It's one of the exponent rule again. Try to make it easier on you. Every time when you have x to the negative n, okay? X to the power negative n, negative 1, negative 2, negative 4, negative million, equal what? 1 over x to the n. Okay? One of the exponents rule. Can I use this one here? So this one, negative 1, can I write it down as 1 over x? Okay? So that one, equal what? 3 over 2. Now, how are we going to find the value of x? We'll do the same thing here. This is 1 over x equal to. How? By both sides by x? Let's make it easier. Can you just flip both sides? These both sides. So this is x over 1 equal what? Over 3. X divided by 1. That's it. Can I do the same thing here? Flip it. So x over 1. This is over 1 is going to be what? That's mean x equal half. Okay.